Hello and welcome to tonight's sleep story. A story following Claire as she takes a journey into a deep, healing crystal cave. My name is Jason Stevenson and I welcome you wholeheartedly into tonight's story. So settle into the space that holds you, and when you are ready, just gently closing your eyes. And take a few mindful breaths to settle in, softening your brow, your belly, and your shoulders as you breathe. And let any stories in your mind just begin to dissolve as you make space for a new story, a story that embodies peace, wisdom, and healing. Now this story begins in the Scottish countryside where rolling hills of lush green grass extend for miles and miles. Outside of a small village near the western coast rests Claire's home. A restored stone farmhouse built many moons ago. On this warm summer afternoon, Claire rests in the upper bedroom, back flat upon a summer quilt, eyes gazing out towards the moors. Claire moved here not long ago, drawn to this area from a large town in the south. She had heard of the region's reputation for healing and magic through quiet whispers from people she trusted immensely. She didn't know the land here well, and yet her ancestors did. Claire's great-grandparents grew up not far from here, and so she feels a subtle connection to the earth that holds both the old farmhouse and herself. Just beyond the window, Claire watches the sun as it kisses the earth. It's late afternoon, nearly 4 o'clock, and as she rests, she considers how she might live out the rest of the day. It's a Saturday and the world around her is quiet. Her laptop is closed as she's made a promise to herself to set aside all computer work for the weekend hours. Claire reflects back on the hours preceding this one, the hens she attended to, the knitting project she'd just begun, and the home-cooked lunch she shared with a mother who has since returned to a home in the south. Her attention shifts to the healing qualities that drew her to this land, and to the words spoken by locals during her first few weeks here. One woman spoke of the crystal cave down by Ayla Bay, a cave that legend says holds the infinite healing powers of the world. Claire remembers that this kind, elderly woman wrote down the directions to Ayla Bay on a small scrap of paper. She had intended to follow these directions one of these days, and yet had not come around to it. Perhaps it was fear of the unknown that held her back, or resistance to the notion that this cave could hold such healing potential. Now, however, observing the way that the sun and the wind and the high grass dance together as if by magic, Claire's heart is alive to the world, attuned to the infinite beauty, wonder, and possibility that lay before her. Slowly, Claire swings her legs off the bed and rises to her feet. Stretching her arms up overhead with heart wide open, she feels a rush of energy course through her body. The summer sun shines through the open window, its warmth caressing her skin. Claire makes her way towards the staircase, hands stretched out to glide upon the wooden hand railing as she makes her way down to the ground floor. Step by step by step, She moves into the warm, welcoming kitchen. The glowing sun beams through the windows, illuminating the mellow yellow walls and the granite countertops. Just next to the fridge, Claire finds her stack of notes, business cards, and lists of things to do. She shuffles through the stack slowly, eyes opening for the handwriting of that lovely woman she met just a few weeks ago. And sure enough, near to the bottom of the pile, she discovers the folded sheet of scrap paper with the directions to Ayla Bay written in delicate cursive. A small smile stretches from cheek to cheek as she gazes down at the scribbled words. Station Road all the way to its end, then turn left to follow the footpath that lines the coast. Take the stone staircase down to the sea, and then head right to Ayla Bay. Claire reads the words a few more times to etch the directions into her mind. She folds the paper back up and tucks it into a pocket in case she may need it. And then she packs a bag to prepare for the journey. With her, she brings a warm blanket, as nights can get cool here, as well as a sweater, a few snacks, and a water bottle. She then heads towards the front door, laces up her hiking boots, and heads out into the open air. Station Road is not far from here, and so Claire meanders through the moors in its direction. As she walks, she revels in the soft summer breeze that rushes through her hair and against the skin. It dances through the grass too, whispering as it passes. She makes note of the other features of this landscape too. Old stone houses, narrow dirt roads, scattered grey boulders and ancient stone fences. She takes a long, deep breath in, absorbing the peace and tranquility. And then she releases with a sigh, letting go of the past to surrender more completely to the present. Soon, Claire reaches what she knows to be a station road. As she steps out from the valley and onto the road, she turns right to head towards the sea. The vast waters glitter in the distance before her. As she breathes, she notes its unique aroma, the smell of salt, vitality and wonder, all blended into one. The sea is still some distance away, and so she meanders slowly down this quiet road, quietly contemplating her intention for coming here. What drew her to this land and to this cave in the first place? Claire considers the yearning within her to heal, the yearning she holds to grow and transform. Though Claire knows she's been blessed in this life, provided with many gifts and opportunities to blossom, there are energy patterns inside of her that she knows holds her back. And so she sits with this question: what drew me to this land and to the crystal cave? Or in other words, what is it that I long to heal? Soon her truth emerges. It rises as a whisper, a longing to heal any remaining self-doubt and insecurity she holds, to mend her relationship to her inner critic. In essence, she longs to heal, to uplift, to nourish and to mend the relationship she has with herself. And yet she does not dwell on how she will heal. She trusts the road she is on and the mystery of the crystal cave ahead of her. With warmth and tenderness in her heart, she continues down Station Road, watching as the sea gets closer with each step. Soon, Claire meets the sea, which is down the cliff below her. From way up high, she has a perfect view of the coast in both directions. She admires the slowly descending sun as it mingles with the sea, creating a matrix of diamonds upon the water's surface. And then she recalls from the note that she must take the small footpath to her left, trailing alongside this mystic coast. As she heads south, she again watches the wind as it dances through the moors. Tall grasses curve away from the sea, guided by the salty breeze. Wildflowers dance too, adding an extra flair of lightness and beauty. Claire keeps her eyes attuned to the cliff by her side, eyes open for the stone staircase that will lead her down to water. And sure enough, just up ahead, she catches sight of the first step. She makes her way towards it and rests in awe with how seamlessly this staircase blends into the earth. Standing at its top, she takes a long, deep breath in and out, and then slowly she begins her descent. As she moves closer towards the sea and to the pebbled beach below, she feels herself surrendering ever more to the magic of her life. Since the day she was born, she's been on an adventure of learning and unlearning, and here on this day, she senses that she's reaching an important milestone. Mindful step by mindful step, she descends towards the earth beside the sea. All physical tension softens as she moves onwards, and her heart opens wider. Finally, she arrives on the pebbled shore at the bottom of the cliff. Soft waves lap against the coast as she remembers the final instructions: head right to Ayla Bay. Majestic cliffs line the land to her right. She walks between them and the lively waters, following the shoreline and minding each step. The pebbled beach transitions into rocky terrain, requiring her to climb over boulders and carve out her own way. She climbs and crawls and steps and jumps her way across the rocky shoreline, until soon the land curves sharply inwards. She turns the rounded corner, and her eyes fall upon a quiet cove, Ayla Bay. The inlet sparkles beneath the now amber sunlight. The air is next to still. It feels to Claire as if she has found her way to a place removed from it all, a place that the world has truly never discovered. She knows she's not the first wanderer to come here, a knowing that settles and inspires her. At the same time, she senses that very few people have travelled here, and within this cave's secrecy, she intuits there is a great power to be discovered. Claire continues along the shoreline, which is a smoother terrain than the rockier coast now behind her. In the distance, in the centre of the bay, she sees a small dark opening perched atop a pile of boulders. Slowly, she makes her way towards it. bathing beneath the setting sun as she goes. As she reaches the foot of this boulder pile, she gazes up at the dark opening of the cave. This must be the entrance to the crystal cave, she thinks to herself. And as those words pass through her, she sees something glimmer from within the darkness. She takes it as a sign that this is where she needs to be. And so she begins to climb the boulders in the direction of the cavernous opening. Up and up she goes until soon she arrives at the entrance. As she peers in, everything she ever knew seems to fall away. She is struck with awe at the sight of hundreds of crystal pillars gleaming before her. From floor to ceiling, columns of sparkling gemstones present this cave as more of a palace than anything else. Lilac, soft pink, pale orange, and white crystal pillars are spread throughout this miraculous and spacious cave. Claire marvels at this enchanted oasis hidden within the earth. For a moment, she feels unable to move. Her mind cannot make sense of this place she's arrived at. And so quickly, she decides to let the mind go, knowing that the mind is not paramount to this journey. What has brought her here, and what matters most, is heart, body, soul, and spirit. As soon as Claire returns to her immediate senses, to the solid earth beneath her, and to the breath moving through her, she begins to explore this crystal cave with great curiosity. She roams the open space between the glimmering pillars, tracing their majesty from floor to ceiling and back down to earth. They are wide and seemingly well-rooted, not so unlike ancient trees in an old-growth forest. She soon arrives at a pillar that captures her interest more completely, if that was somehow possible. It is a rose quartz and nearly 2 feet in diameter. Something in Claire calls her to wrap her arms around it, and as she does, she feels its healing energy pulse through her heart. She takes a deep breath in, welcoming this soft, pink healing energy into her heart, and as she breathes out, she feels this energy traveling throughout the rest of her body. Claire spends a little while longer in direct contact with this crystal pillar, a few tears of joy rolling down her cheeks. And as she pulls away from the quartz, she feels a rush of love moving through her, a love for herself, for this crystal column, and for the earth as a whole. She realizes that in fact, on the deepest level, they are one and the same. Now Claire continues through this cave, taking pause to connect with other gemstones that grace this space. She feels into the warmth, vitality, and creative power of the orange calcite pillars, and into the calming and spiritually enhancing energy of the surrounding amethyst. And as she moves a little further still, she comes to a circle of 12 white quartz pillars. As she looks around, she realizes that this must be the center of the cave. As she steps into the center of the circle, she feels the universally cleansing energy of the white quartz radiating through her from head to toe, through mind, body, and spirit. She listens to the frequency of the crystals as their song drums through her ears. Claire breathes deeply, feeling herself attuning to the healing frequencies that pervade this cave. Growing tired, she decides to let herself rest in the center of these quartz columns. She pulls out a sweater and blanket, wrapping herself up completely. She takes a few sips of the water, sensing that its hydration will help her to integrate the energy field that surrounds her. And then she comes to rest flat on her back, surrendering completely to the wonder of the natural world that cleanses and nourishes her. In mind, body, and spirit, she knows that she's fully supported in this moment. There is nothing else that she needs. Claire gazes up at the ceiling of the cave, which appears in her eyes as a sea of minerals. The light of the setting sun, which is now a vibrant magenta, reflects off the crystal ceiling, causing it to shimmer. The wondrous sunset glow penetrates all the crystal columns in the cave. And as Claire reflects back on her intention for coming here, she realizes that deep in her body and in her higher mind, she has received what she was in search of. She knows how to tend to herself with full embrace and to communicate lovingly with a divine being. She feels inner divides coming together, mind, body, and heart and spirit aligned as one. The sun continues to fade beyond the cave, bringing darkness to the space that holds her. Claire welcomes the coming night as an opportunity to rest and to integrate what she has received from these healing crystals. When she awakes, she will be surrounded by their healing energy before she makes the journey back home. For now, she allows her eyes to close and her body to surrender into slumber. And as she drifts off, she lets the frequency of these healing crystal vibrations continue to cleanse her, healing her entire being in ways she previously only dreamed of. Good night, my friend. Good night.